Playoff PERKZ has become the rallying cry of Cloud9's summer run. Some place a lot of faith in the concept, and will especially feel good about it after seeing PERKZ pop off against TSM in C9's 3 wins this past weekend to help bring his team to Worlds. Others think the idea of Playoff PERKZ is just lazy copium, and they'll rip on anyone who might use it to help justify a prediction, God forbid. So is Playoff PERKZ a real thing? Does PERKZ actually play better when the stakes are higher? PERKZ's unrivaled career success suggests that he's been incredibly clutch throughout his career. In 11 completed splits as a pro player, PERKZ has won his domestic league 9 times. That's 82%, and if Cloud9 can win this coming weekend, it'll get even better. No one contests that PERKZ is the most accomplished player in Western League of Legends, but that's not what we're examining here. We want to know how much of that success came from PERKZ stepping up his individual game in the postseason. What do his performance stats say? Let's use KDA as a basic jumping off point. In PERKZ's mid lane career, his KDA has been lower in the playoffs than the regular season, and much lower in international play. As a side note, international play means MSI and Worlds here, I'm not including any Rift Rivals events. PERKZ's bot lane KDA is slightly higher in playoffs, but again dropped significantly internationally. What about his laning? Well, let's bear in mind that in playoffs and international play, the level of opposition will be higher than in the regular season. So if Playoff PERKZ is a real thing, then it might produce equivalent lane outcomes, not necessarily an increase. Let's take a look. Well, even an increase in opponent difficulty doesn't justify this kind of drop-off in GXD10. Safe to say Playoff PERKZ doesn't upgrade his laning at least. What about his mid and late game contributions? When we plot PERKZ's damage output against how much of his team's mid and late game farm he picked up, we see that in his mid lane seasons, he's been allocated less of the team's late game farm in the playoffs, and has dealt a lot less of his team's damage compared to the regular season, with international play somewhere in between. As a bot laner though, he stepped up big in the playoffs, with jumps in both his resource allocation and damage output. Despite that, his bot lane numbers in international play weren't an improvement. So we've got mixed results here, with some hints of Playoff PERKZ in his bot lane splits, but remember that the mid lane captures a much larger portion of his career. It's possible that the stats aren't telling the entire story, so we can triangulate our analysis of PERKZ's relative performance in regular season versus playoffs by looking at his recognition in league awards, like all-pro team selections from the regular season compared to how often he received Player of the Series nods in the postseason. In 12 regular seasons, PERKZ has been selected to the first team All-Pro 5 times, second team 3 times, and third team once. He's only been left off All-Pro completely in 3 splits, including the current split. Not bad at all. How does that compare to his playoffs recognition? Well, according to Leaguepedia's record keeping, PERKZ has been selected as the player of the series in domestic playoff matches a grand total of 5 times. That's right, PERKZ has won 9 domestic titles and has only been considered the best performer in 5 individual best-of-5 series. And 3 of those 5 selections were in the 2021 LCS Spring Playoffs. So according to Player of the Series choices, PERKZ has been a bigger playoff performer in North America than he was in Europe. It's actually shocking that PERKZ has so few Series MVP wins, especially when you compare to some of the other great European and North American players. 5 Series MVPs is the same number as Doublelift, going back to 2015 when those awards started being tracked. Caps has 7 Player of the Series wins so far, with 4 coming in 2020. Then you have PERKZ, who had 5 Series MVPs in a single playoff run in summer 2020, and earned 14 over the course of his career. Whoa. Forget Playoff PERKZ, what about big game PERKZ over there? I'm not saying PERKZ isn't clutch. You don't put together the kind of career he's had without stepping up in the key moments. We saw that against TSM, we saw it in the spring playoffs, and we can see it in his trophy case. At the end of the day, PERKZ's teams win. And as G2 showed us last week, it's not like he's easy to replace. But maybe Playoff PERKZ is more about leveling up his leadership and shot calling, the ways he helps his teammates look better, and the results he's able to produce for his team as a whole, and less about attempts to 1v9. Or maybe it was always just a fun, knockoff Paul George meme used as a shorthand for all the stuff I just said.
We are headed into finals, and this is my final outro. No, I'm just kidding. I'm going to make a ton more of these. But it is not the final time that I will promote Alienware, our amazing sponsor. Alienware.com/Travis. Check out the link in the description. Just do it, all right? It's a great way to celebrate finals by celebrating my sponsors. That's what I'm doing here. Anyway, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do that. That also helps. And there's some names scrolling across the bottom of the screen that have subscribed recently. You can end up on that list if you do too. So thank you so much for watching this video, and we'll catch you next time.